Hey everyone, my name is Matt Romanchik, and I am the founder and host of The Conscious Vibe. This is the podcast where we explore the connections between creativity, everyday life, science, wisdom, relationships, health, spirituality, pretty much everything, so we can all think, feel, and act more consciously in the world and make a difference. I would like to welcome you to this conscious earth. Shout out to John Arne for that awesome opening track. If you would like to hear that, among all the other music featured in this podcast, you can find it all on my YouTube channel, The Conscious Vibe. If you would like to submit your music, shoot me an email at theconsciousvibe@gmail.com. Today's guest is Ryan Muetzel. Ryan is a guy who's doing all sorts of stuff. He was a personal trainer for NBA and NFL players. He's worked with all sorts of athletes. He's a yoga teacher. But he's also very passionate about conscious lifestyle. He's a big proponent of veganism, mind-body balance, Chinese medicine, acupuncture, and other alternative healing modalities. He's an all-around cool guy. Speaking of Ryan, this podcast is sponsored by his company, Apollogenesis, Nourishment for the spiritual warrior. Apollogenesis distributes a wide array of awesome organic food and nutritional supplements. If you would like to get 10% off, use the coupon code STAYCONSCIOUS. If you would like to join in on the conversation, feel free to shoot me an email or join our Facebook group, The Conscious Vibe Tribe. Thanks for listening, everyone. Without further ado, here's Ryan Muetzel. Funny because I was just watching your video on the nature of health.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the nature of health lecture, and it was just getting me all excited about food and health and everything. And I'm actually fasting today.
Okay.
Do you fast ever?
Not really. I've done like, I guess it would be like juice kind of fast,
right,
where I would just do like just juice. The understanding from the whole Chinese medical perspective is more, most people, and again, you could be different because you seem like you've been healthy for quite a while, but most people actually suffer from lack of nutrients.
Right.
They're giving their bodies a bunch of junk, and that's why they're gaining weight and all this stuff, and they're like, oh, so if you put your body into that state, it kind of messes it up. So the idea that with a lot of the patients, we call it more like, instead of fasting, it's more like feasting. We're like, just put as many good nutrients into your body as possible. But depending on what you're trying to do, everything is from Chinese medical. It's everyone's an individual, no matter what, whether it's your training, whether it's food, nutrition. So there's like not one answer for any one person.
It's just been something I've experimenting with the last few weeks. Most people, when they tell me they've tried fasting, that they say like they get really sick and horrible headaches, whatever. I didn't get any of that. I got like a headache for like an hour the first time, and then I just felt amazing for like the rest of the day. I did it again yesterday, and I ended up doing an experiment where I decided to eat chicken like 12 hours into my fast or whatever, and I eat like almost mostly vegan probably. I'm not like strict anything, but that was like the first time I had chicken in a while, and I literally felt like my consciousness like plummeting. It's like the only way I can describe it was like getting kicked out of heaven, and I was just like, oh man. I literally like could not believe the difference in how I felt. It was just unreal.
Some very interesting stories that if you want to see the whole idea of possible like instant karma and all that, it's funny. One of my business partners with a lot of the books, Andrew Lucky Chewy Lichtenberger, is one of the best players in the world. All the top poker players are all like basically doing the mostly raw, vegan, vegetarian, meditating, all that stuff. Yeah. He wrote a book about it, The Yoga of Poker. What they did is once they got into it, right, and they were very conscious of what was going on, they would notice that, because these tournaments are really long, sometimes 8, 10, 12 hours, and most of the people aren't doing what they're doing. They're ordering like bad food and all that stuff. So they would actually notice like someone would order like a really crappy meal, what you're saying, like just like roasted chicken or fried or blah, blah, blah. And then they would notice really shortly afterwards, they would start making bad decisions and get knocked out of the tournament.
That's amazing.
Like, wow. And so like, all these guys to keep playing, for that extended period of time, it's really like 1 or 2 decisions basically determines whether, you make millions of dollars or whether you go home without any money. It's really being focused at those key times. And if you do have that really terrible food in your body at that time, and that's where your mental process, like you just felt there, they don't even know it because they're probably used to it, but it's like, boom, and then suddenly they're off their game.
Well, yeah, with something like poker or say like any sport, for example, any activity you're doing where literally one choice can make that kind of impact, then your focus, mental determination, and ability to stay calm can make a tremendous difference. And you just posted, I believe it was you, posted an article yesterday or the day before about Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And obviously, like, the Super Bowl just happened, so that's relevant. And I didn't watch it, but I didn't know that about Tom Brady.
He actually owns an acupuncture Chinese medicine clinic, too.
Really?
Which is like, actually owns it with this one guy who, like, the FDA, the feds always come after him because he's, doesn't comply with their nonsense. And a lot of the players, I know a lot of the players, like, the guy who actually won the Super Bowl, the running back, I actually trained him when he was in high school.
Yeah, so let's talk about who exactly you are and what you do, because
where do you want to start? Where's a good beginning
as
point?
Early as is relevant to you.
Wow, I would say, I guess it really started probably, high school time. Everyone's trying to, I was, amazing family, parents, like I have a really good background and support with everything that I've done, so wanted to go to one of the top high schools in the country, which was St. Ignatius in Cleveland, Ohio. They're usually very competitive, and most of the sports win national championships in football. 3 quarterbacks, 2 of which I played with, actually ended up playing in the NFL. Funny enough, too, I always have to laugh. One of my teammates and friends that I played with, Jacob Bell, I ended up turning down continuing playing in the NFL to open raw, basically vegan, vegetarian juice bar in San Diego.
Right on.
It's just really funny how things change, because like if you would have talked to both of us back in the day, us being so much into like the yoga and the natural foods, like no one would have thought that, and yet we both end up kind of in the same place, taking very different paths. It's just kind of exciting to see all these different people maybe reaching different levels of success, but yet always coming back to kind of similar things that I noticed, the trends that I guess give people what they're really looking for, which is peace of mind, and just, the yoga and the clean, healthy foods are what really, I think, drive a lot of people. My entire high school career was basically just doing academics, studying 3 or 4 hours a night, and then just doing sports. Did track in college. From there afterwards, that's when I wanted to keep trying to do track and field. So I was training to be a decathlete, and was out in Las Vegas and kind of got started in the health and supplement industry. that's just kind of where this whole thing started, where it's like, what are the limits of human potential, and how do you achieve it? Since I was even a little kid, I was always like, okay, I need to gain weight for football. How do I gain weight? I need to get stronger, weight room. And so a lot of professional athletes spend a lot of time training in the off season in Las Vegas, California, Florida. And so, I was able to start meeting guys from a lot of different sports, working with them, and eventually I ended up in Florida and was training with a lot of different facilities out there. There was Perfect Competition, and then they partnered up with Test Football Academy. Bomberito Performance Systems was kind of right there. And eventually I got with Athlete's Edge in Boca, and, they ended up training most of the top NFL players, NBA players, baseball players, a lot of UFC guys too I was able to work with while I was in Vegas and then in Florida. And it was funny because I just started noticing all the different, like, what separated the top athletes from these other guys. And for me, it was always just about finding the truth. Eventually, just able to run into David Burke and Elisa Wampel, who they wrote Nourishment for the Spiritual Warrior, which is what also the Burke Superfoods line is based on. And
actually, I think that might have been the best vegan protein powder I've tasted. I was like, wow, this is actually really good.
Yeah, no, we appreciate it. And we're not trying to make a super strong flavor with that one. Everyone's got their own taste and flavor.
I find it funny when you read like Amazon reviews for like the green supplements, and people are like, this tasted like grass, and it's like, you're eating a green supplement. Like, what do you expect? It is grass.
I want my grass to taste like chocolate M&Ms or something. It's kind of like, well,
right? It's like, just drink it.
Totally. Yeah, I agree. And most of the time, what's really interesting, I notice, at least along myself and other people that I've worked with, is your tastes really start to change. And
oh, absolutely.
Especially the grocery stores, it's hilarious now, because I'll literally just walk around the grocery store and almost you get to the point where the foods like almost talk to you about like what you need. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, it does.
Like, I'll be like, even stuff that, say, even a few months past that isn't even, say, that bad. Even like, say, like a vegan non-raw chocolate cake or something, like I'll even go in phases where like I'll be wanting to eat something like every day, and then I just won't want it instantly. It's like I don't want it at all.
Yeah.
Or even in the winter now, like it'll just suddenly change temperatures here in Austin, and I just want no part of ice cream whatsoever. And then suddenly, like a few months later, like it'll get to like a certain temperature, and it's just like I suddenly want to start having that, the ice cream again.
Yeah, I've learned to just go with it. I don't try to stick to any routines anymore, and I definitely relate to what you said about going to the grocery store and food talking to you. Sometimes you just got to go with what food talks to you and feels right.
Yeah, it's better, I think, using intuition. Once you're plugged in correctly, like someone who maybe is really far away and needs to make some serious changes, their intuition may tell them, go, eat a box of brown cake. In that case, probably not. But once you're actually plugged in and you've done this for a while and you're relatively healthy and your kind of mind's in the right place, your intuition usually is fairly correct with almost everything, once you really understand how to listen to it. I was having a chat with this girl at the gym yesterday, and it's funny how in at least this Western society, it seems like when we're younger, right, all the general thing that happens is a lot of the girls do like the dance and gymnastics and cheerleading, and they're spending a lot of their time working on their flexibility. And the guys, again, generally, I'm just being very general with this, end up doing their football and their basketball and more aggressive sports and lifting their heavy weights and everything like that. then what happens is, as we get older, right, you see the effects of that, where the guys, when they start to get older, end up having issues because, they're not flexible and they're not, moving around like that anymore. And the girls I see end up having issues because they're not strong.
Right.
And you almost see that flip now, where like I see a lot of the girls kind of more embracing it, where they're doing more of the CrossFit and they're lifting the weights and all that. And it actually works for them because they did a lot more of the flexibility stuff when they were younger. So it's a lot easier to do the strength movements when you have good flexibility. And the issue I see with so many guys, they keep trying that strength stuff when they were little, trying to keep building muscle and, getting all big and all this stuff. And everyone I hear at the gym, like I just kind of walk around, I got my headphones on, but I can still listen. And everyone's like, oh, my shoulders hurt and I hurt my ankle and I hurt this, and everyone's injured. The reason why is you just don't see enough guys, I think, just embracing the yin aspect. The Chinese has the yin and the yang, and the yoga, the meditation, the clean, healthy foods is more of yin training. The yang training would be more competing in sports, lifting heavy weights, doing sprints, or CrossFit is more of the yang training. And like anything in life, you need that balance. Once you get too far out of balance, then that's when you have issues. Me being a Libra, funny enough, it's like apparently my goal is to bring everyone back into balance, right? So I kind of see that even from a health and nutrition perspective, is anytime you get too far one way, going back to the middle. Aristotle's the middle path, the mean between the extremes.
Yeah.
And there's just so much obvious, simple knowledge there that anyone can take. You don't need to spend hours and hours with nutritionists and all these people to do that. A lot of times, if you can just kind of think about what you're doing now, and are you doing too much one way or too much the other way, and just do a little bit of the stuff maybe that you're not used to. And a lot of times that brings people into balance.
I'm used to this now, but I've been doing yoga on and off for years now, and I'm consistently one of, if not the only guy in a yoga class. A lot of times I feel like I'm invading, like a woman's group.
A safe you're getting in the female safe space, and it's so different, because what's funny is if you look at India or that, it's actually more of the males who are doing it, strangely.
Right. I mean, it was men who mainly brought it to the West, right?
Yeah, or Bikram in LA doing it for the people in Hollywood and the models and the stars. They're trying to do that. And
right.
Yeah, none of this stuff should be reserved for any person or sex or whatever. It's just we're all trying to get to the same place. We're all trying to create that balance, in both sides, whether it's the right-left brain balance, whether it's the yin-yang. It's like, the whole...
balance.
Yes, exactly. That's where I would go with that.
A lot of people who are really into the whole idea of, expanding consciousness and just being a more conscious individual, people who are really into creativity or music, I meet a lot of those people who are really open-minded. They have a lot of the knowledge, but then they're just not healthy people. It's like, why are you smoking cigarettes? Like, why are you eating garbage? I don't understand how someone can have a Buddha statue in their house and then put all this garbage into their bodies or not take care of themselves at all.
I think the biggest thing there is the mind-body connection. It's the whole balance idea. Again, we keep going back to the idea of balance, and you get people say so focused on their bodies, right? Being so far interested in the body. And then you get, like you were talking about, the other way, where the people so far into their mind, none of this matters. I don't have to do any of this because my mind's there. And I think so many people miss, it's the mind-body connection.
Right. We're ultimately human beings in a body.
Yes. The body is a reflection of the mind. This whole experience, everything that everyone is going through, is a reflection of where your mind is at. That's why it just never made sense to me where, say, someone who is crazy, super, say, overweight, but somehow they're doing really exciting spiritual things and healing all these people. And I'm just not buying it in a sense, because I understand that there is a connection between the mind and the body. It doesn't have to be overly one way or another, but there has to be some sort of balance there where, yeah, you're not going to be sitting on the couch watching TV all day, eating super bad food, and yet somehow you've mastered spirituality and achieved enlightenment. I'd say some of the best teachers and the most spiritual understand the physical component. It may not be everything that they do, but they know it's a huge part, doing their yoga or their meditation or their breathing and eating their healthy foods. I just haven't met anyone in my entire life who goes so far one way and is able to just somehow access the other part without actually doing anything. And that's where I think the idea of karma is just action, right? The idea is that karma is basically based on your action. If you're just going to sit around and meditate and eat terrible foods, well, yeah, you're probably going to gain weight and maybe be unhealthy and sick. And if you're just going to go to the gym all day and just be completely obsessed about that, you may not be very happy, no matter how many likes or any of that stuff you get, because you don't have that connection there, that mental connection to the infinite.
What I'm holding on to, I don't understand.
In both those scenarios, you haven't actually learned how to be present in your body.
True, yeah.
I would say most spiritual texts, if it's like, the Bhagavad Gita, the Dhammapada, or even the Bible, there's a very strong emphasis on what you do with your body.
Body is a temple, right?
You started off doing personal training and exercise and playing sports. How did you end up crossing over into like the realm of the weird, so to speak? Like, was that something you were always interested in? Where did that come in?
Basically, what ended up happening was it was just a bad point in my life where I had torn an ACL, MCL, and meniscus, which kind of stopped me from doing serious training for a while. And it was funny because it was like I had access to all these super high level trainers and the top sports medicine and everything in the world, and like my knee just wasn't getting better. And that's when I started, Dave had introduced me to the acupuncture, and I started doing the acupuncture, the Chinese medicine, the juicing, and the yoga. And miraculously, all the things Tom Brady's doing, if you see all the articles for the Super Bowl, Tom Brady's got his own acupuncture clinic. He's eating his mostly raw, vegan, vegetarian, alkaline foods. And suddenly I start getting better. I start getting healthier. All my pains go away. I was having a lot of pain too in my lower back at that time. Boom. Not only did it go away, but I think the biggest thing for me is that I learned was there's no limit to health. It's not like you get to a certain point and like that's the end goal, that I think unfortunately a lot of people get there and they're okay with it. And I see that all the time.
Right. They're like, I'm at this weight or whatever, I'm healthy now.
Exactly. Well, they get just past that tipping point where they're like, oh, I can deal with this now. And then slowly you start seeing people come back to the point where they end up getting injured again. And I guess the number one message I really want to put out to people is that there is no limit to health. You can keep improving your health and feeling better and pushing the ceiling of how flexible you are, how strong you are, how at peace you are with the world around you. And it's just taking those steps every day in that direction versus, okay, I'm not on any pain drugs now. I can get up in the morning and I'm not injured. So I'm just going to go back to exactly what I was doing before. And that's just, watching TV and, skipping workouts here and there, not doing my yoga. And eventually what's going to happen is they're going to end up in the exact same place. That's why you really have to make it a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle choice. Do you want to keep pushing that ceiling of health? Like what can be achieved on the mental and, physical levels? Or do you want to just keep yo-yoing back and forth between I'm in super pain, so I need to do something, and I'm not in pain, so I'm not going to do anything?
For me, it comes down to values. being healthy and focusing on that sort of thing is just a natural side effect of what I care about. If I care about the planet, or I care about respecting the body, or I just want to be my best self, I just want to think well, like I want to feel good, have fun, then it's just being healthy is natural.
What ended up happening was I started working with Dave and Elisa at the clinic there that they had in Vegas, and just blew my mind seeing patients come in every day and the level of like pain and health that they were at. People that you would run into the streets, right, and think these are super healthy people,
right?
Whether they're Cirque du Soleil performers or whether they're like absolutely beautiful young girls, and like you see the level of health that they're actually in and the amount of pain that they're in, and you're just like, wow, this needs to change. This shouldn't be, you see someone in the street, you don't know, maybe they're like really injured or they're in pain, and no one's telling anyone that. Everyone's kind of hiding it. And so my journey from there was I actually spent several years, just pretty much my life consisted of, we would work at the clinic. Myself and David Burke would do our training and our yoga and all that stuff. And just slowly from there, that's when everything got built. Dave and Elisa wrote that Nourishment for the Spiritual Warrior book, and the Burke Superfoods got put together. And then I started getting actual experience and practical applications where stuff started working. I started getting the answers to my questions about truth. I started getting actual experience and practical applications where stuff started working.
Right.
In the past, it was almost like a complete crapshoot. I was throwing dice. I was trying everything in the world. I had my own supplement store, so I tried probably every supplement that existed. Like anything you buy at GNC, I had. And it's the quality that matters. It's not how much you put in your body and getting 200 to 300 grams of protein of this or that. It's how quality is the protein. Having spirulina versus some absolute garbage, $2 whey protein is going to make a huge difference on your body. And so once I started realizing that, my whole life really shifted to putting quality time in, whether it's the yoga, whether it's lifting weights and doing that at the gym, or the people I surround myself with. And I think that's really where people should focus more on, is not just randomly doing more stuff, but focus on the quality. Put as much high quality food into your body as possible. That's where things, I think, really start changing for people.
Thanks again for listening, everyone. This is the first in what will likely be several parts of the interview with Ryan Muetzel. So stay tuned for the rest. We talk about a lot more. We talk about plant medicine. We talk more about health. We talk about all sorts of stuff. If you would like to get in on the conversation, join the Conscious Vibe Tribe on Facebook and check out the Conscious Vibe on YouTube and SoundCloud. This episode is sponsored by Apollogenesis, Nourishment for the Spiritual Warrior. To get 10% off of a bunch of great organic food and nutritional supplements, use the coupon code STAYCONSCIOUS at checkout. Stay tuned for the next episode. We'll see you there, brothers and sisters.